Animal health is a constant pressure on UK farms. Deep in Somerset, Rob and Jeremy are two neighbouring tenancy farmers who have been working together for over 20 years. They've deeply integrated animals into their wider businesses and are investing in new technologies to continually monitor and improve animal health.
So we'd be able to work out if she's ill, what she's eating, making sure she's all happy.
But can technology stand up to the rough and tumble of Jeremy's cattle?
This one had a little bit of a nibble.
What can farmers do to overcome public misconceptions about having livestock?
We care passionately about our stock.
And can Rob save his sheep from a resilient parasite?
It's really disheartening because you feel a total failure.
They'll be relying on expert help and each other as they look after their animals by farming smarter. It's early winter and the animals have come in for the season.
Morning. Morning. Yeah, you right?
Jeremy is up to feed his new calves.
So we have around about 300, 350 cattle altogether on the farm. What we try and do on the farm is actually incorporate the livestock into the arable rotations. So not only are they returning manures to the ground, but we're giving those fields a break. So these calves behind, we picked them up from the local farm yesterday. On their journey, we hope they have the best life they possibly could.
If they're happy, they're going to be productive. There's nothing nicer than going out, particularly when you're lambing and there's two healthy lambs with a mother. It's an incredibly satisfying sight.
Today, Jeremy is welcoming Jude, a visiting beef expert who wants to see his modern approach to cattle monitoring and how it's helping him and the herd.
Every consumer wants and expects that all animals should be healthy all the time. And just like us, nothing's ever 100%, but it's really crucial as an industry to demonstrate our dedication to good animal health.
So we started working with the Ritchie Beef Monitor about a year ago. This is sort of more of a prototype machine. I think they've sort of upgraded them since. You've got a water trough this end. You've got a weighing platform, weigh cells underneath, so as the animals step on to the platform, take a drink, they're weighed. The electronic identification tags, EIDs, are picked up within this board here, so you can keep a track on the daily live weight gain.
So if all of a sudden she became ill, her weight would start dropping. That would send it off to Jeremy and Rob's phones, so we'd be able to work out if she's ill, what she's eating, making sure she's all happy. It saves a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah, so it's a really good management tool.
Yeah, weighing more frequently but without that human intervention has real positives for cattle stress. The calmer they are, the sort of happier they are, the better the meat's going to be ultimately. And from a social science point of view, we know that only about 50% of farmers weigh their animals. And we actually did some quite interesting work at Harper Adams University looking at the ideal time to finish cattle. And we found that if you could finish at the ideal time on a multi-cycle basis, so over years and years and years, you could improve profit by up to 45% and cut the carbon footprint by up to 32%.
When they go out for summer grazing, we actually use them in the field, run off solar, but this one had a little bit of a nibble. So yeah, they work well, but cattle have got long necks. It really needs, it's just something simple, just some tube running down to feed that cable down. But you're so used to looking at the app and monitoring it, and now it hasn't. It's like, oh, it feels as though I've lost my leg, but that's farming.
While technology can automate some of Jeremy's tasks, he also uses it to keep a watchful eye.
The last thing I'll do before I go to bed is I'll grab my phone, because we've got cameras in all the buildings, and I'll just check everything's, zoom in. If there's one that doesn't look quite right, I'll zoom in and just make sure, they're all right.
So we have quite a lot of challenges facing the UK livestock industry at the moment in terms of animal health and welfare. We are seeing an increase in exotic diseases that we haven't necessarily seen before. We've got the challenge of antimicrobial resistance as well.
Rob's flock is one of those affected by this type of resilient worm.
I bought just a group of lambs to graze the orchard.
6, wasn't it?
13 actually. 13, yeah. They were all named. They were all named. We've got a little picture with all their names on. And we realised over time that there would be a value to them as well in that arable rotation.
Rob's brought in Bethan, an animal health expert, to help advise on what to do.
We've really struggled with worms this year, which is homuncus.
Yeah.
I don't know what the real name for that is.
Homuncus contortus.
They have recovered a fair bit, but we did lose 7 lambs through that process. Yeah. And then, yeah, it's really, yeah. We felt like we'd had a really good year because they were going well, they were growing well.
Yeah.
And it's really disheartening because you feel a total failure. You know, you feel like you've missed something. We're used to worms and we've never had this effect before.
Homuncus can suddenly come out of nowhere. There's a whole host of different options using anthelmintics if they are necessary. Testing, not guessing, you know, you've done a blood test or a fecal egg count. Manage your pasture, rotationally graze, so that you're only grazing your livestock on land that you know doesn't have a really high burden. A one health approach really.
Yeah.
For us, for the animals.
We were really fortunate. UK Agri-Tech Centre gave us some equipment which meant that we needed to tag the lambs when they were still very young, and we're able to track then what vaccinations it's had, what wormers it's had, where it's been grazing if we wanted to do that as well.
That would be a way to monitor which pastures are high risk. So technology is a key component to farming in the 21st century. Whilst we have the ability to put new technology onto our farms, whether that be through sensors, GPS tracking, ear tags, boluses, ultimately a dedicated stock person is needed to be able to interpret that data. The data means that we've then got an evidence-based, actionable insight.
Did we at this point ought to bring them in
and
separate them?
Yeah, separate.
And so anything that's showing being loose or small,
test them.
yeah,
Make a note of the EID, the ones that say this one with a
that
monkey
one
bun.
there, yeah.
And then what you want to do is just take a composite sample from each group.
Yeah.
Vaccines form a really integral part to our preventative health toolkit. So between 2011 and 2023, the AHDB actually recorded an increase in uptake of cattle vaccines by 20.6%, which is really reassuring.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
What are you up to now?
I'm going to get cleaned up and go to the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, this afternoon we just got to worm those lambs because they gave us the advice we ought to get them off the fields.
Sounds a plan.
Okay.
Catch you later.
So we've wormed our lambs before now, but we found that there's been resistance to the wormer. So what we've got today is a wormer with no known resistances, but it's very expensive. And so we're setting up a dosing gun and we're giving them 5.5 millilitres each. I don't know if it's very tasty or not. But then once we've done this batch, we'll then put them through and weigh them because that's an early indicator if there's anything wrong. Josh is in there. He is going to put the drench gun, you just sort of tuck it in the cheek and then they swallow it. Go on then, baby. I've got a piece of software which connects to a weigh cell, and then we have an electronic ear tag reader. So as each lamb comes into the weight crate, we get a weight and we get their ear tag number. So we're monitoring their weight growth as the year goes on. What we've done is we've marked all the lambs that had problems with the homuncus worm. I've got a little red mark and we are visibly seeing that they haven't put on as much weight as some of the others. Hopefully this takes their distress away. You also build up like quite an attachment with some of your sick animals.
Yeah.
And we'll notice it with some of our lambs, for example, that we've had to look after when they were little. They come running across the field to see you and go and tickle it under the chin, or, you know, it's that kind of satisfaction that you get that gives you a smile.
Rob and Jeremy have also been struggling with how to respond to claims from people that farmers mistreat all animals and that sheep and cows are bad for the environment. So Jude is visiting Manor Farm to show Rob how to present their side.
We had a guy turn up at Jeremy's cafe who really felt that all farmers were mistreating their animals, which, like, that's really hurtful for us.
Why would a farmer mistreat their own animal when that's their life and blood. It's absolute nonsense. I said, hey, you can walk around our farm anytime you want.
And we have lots of visitors to the farm, and what we want to do is educate people, but what are the actual facts and the myths that people hold?
Yeah, that's a great question. Every single farm's different. But the most important thing I found is to share my values and just to help people understand that this isn't just a job. And when people see that passion, really, I think they sort of empathise. So I think you have a real opportunity in talking about on our farm, given the limitations, given the weather, given that it's hilly or rocky, these are our best sheep on this land. They're suited to this land because they are, A, B and C.
Yeah.
Jude also has advice for carbon footprint discussions.
So I did the calculation, if people didn't fly to different holiday locations, how much beef could they instead eat?
Yeah.
Based on the carbon footprint of beef. And it's worth noting that the figures for lamb would be very similar. If you didn't fly on a round-trip basis per person to Lanzarote, it would be equal to eating about 27.4 kilos of beef, which on average UK beef consumption would be about 1.5 years worth of beef.
Okay, that's about a meal's worth for me.
It's a huge challenge, but I think we've got the tools and the data. We just need to be better on the communications quite often.
It's decision time for Rob's flock. Having used the last available wormer, the flock's future is now out of his hands. He's come to see if the lambs are showing signs of being loose or diuretic.
Girls.
It's bad news. Some of the lambs are still loose.
Rob tries to phone Jeremy at his cafe for advice.
Rob's left with the difficult decision. He can hope for a really harsh winter that will kill the worms, or he can choose to rest the land, which means selling the lambs.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Yeah, just stood in with the lambs now, looking at them. There's 2 or 3 that are really loose. So I think they're just going to keep reinfecting, and I don't want to have them, losing condition and not feeling themselves over the winters, especially if it gets cold. It weighs on you a little bit as to, am I doing the best job that I can do? And even if you are, sometimes it just weighs on your heart a little bit. We made the decision based on Bethan's advice, but based on some good sheep farmers locally, that it would be better for us to give that land a break, to allow the life cycle of that worm to be broken. So the reality is, what we'll do is sell this flock now.
It's more your concern about the welfare of those animals.
It is, yeah.
That's going to come through.
I don't want another group of lambs to suffer like this group of lambs, or a small portion of this group of lambs suffered. It was heartbreaking for us. The cost of that is not just a pound, shilling and pence cost, it's the seeing an animal deteriorate. I've also got an elderly dad who he does most of the checking every day, and it affected him as well. So as a family, we're dealing with, it's almost bereavement, isn't it? I'm not sure I want to put myself through it either, because that was quite emotional.
You hate losing an animal, whether you've got to euthanize it or whether it sort of dies naturally. And it does take its toll, because, us farmers, we care passionately about our stock. We get up at silly hours of the morning and finish at crazy hours at night, just to make sure that all our stock are healthy, fit and well.
We will go back into sheep at some point, and buy back in a new flock of sheep. But I've got to build relationship with those pesky animals again until they become, part of this farm.
Next time, Jeremy and Rob tackle water problems as visiting expert Lucy reveals some unexpected surprises.